Hey guys, welcome to the YouTube channel of Conscious History, where we will unveil the hidden truths of the past. If you would walk in the 70s into certain neighborhoods like the Piru Street in Compton, California, you would notice immediately that the whole neighborhood was connected. This connection was formed by one thing, the color red. In this and other neighborhoods, the color red was more than just a color. It was a statement, a way of life. Everywhere you looked, you could sense that this color symbolized the unity, an identity, and a shared sense of belonging. From red lowriders cruising on the street, red graffiti painted on buildings, corner stores proudly hanging red flags, to people walking around on the streets with pride. People would wear red sneakers, red shirts, red jackets, red caps, and most importantly, people walked around with a red bandana. From the 1970s until present, brothers and sisters were formed to display one purpose. We are one. We are one blood, one unity. Who touches one of us, touches all of us. We are one family, and the color that binds us is red. In this video, we are diving deep into the history of the Bloods, one of the most famous gangs in world history, as can be seen in the digital age, where blood culture echoes loudly across online platforms and is still very present in the music industry and day-to-day life. From lyrics that pay homage to the streets, to visual representations that incorporate the iconic red bandana and eventually their own slang, with examples like bompton and suwoop, a gang cult used by the Bloods. Even though there is a negative stigma surrounding the Bloods, it is their history that is an embodiment of brotherhood, respect and protection. If you like the content, like and subscribe to the channel, and let's take a trip down memory lane, diving into the history of the Bloods.
Welcome to Los Angeles. This is the other side of the Sunshine City. This is East LA, a 7-mile square area, an easy 10-minute ride from downtown. It's the home for more street gangs and more street gang-related violence than any neighborhood in any city in this country.
When we start our history, we immediately want to give an answer to a frequently asked question: which gang is the oldest? And to give you a straight answer to that, there is none. These gangs didn't follow a chronological sequence where one group preceded another. Instead, these so-called gangs arose independently for a reason the media did not display. These gangs were not formed to kill other gangs, but as a response to challenges in society like poverty, inequality, and a lack of resources. To help your brothers and getting kids out of a life of violence and poverty. The formation of the Bloods was about safeguarding the local black community from the racism, violence, corruption and brutality that was going on. The Bloods arose as a shield against injustices, a collective force uniting to counter-challenge the negative things people are experiencing in their neighborhoods. Think about what you would do for a beloved family member if they had to live in a dangerous neighborhood. What would you sacrifice if something happened to them? The Bloods united. That was the reason the Bloods were formed. Blood. Brotherly love overcomes oppression and destruction.
You gotta understand, the system doesn't work for us. When one of our people dies, police don't give a damn, They make a report, scoop the body up, and he's gone to the morgue. They like, yeah, one less nigga off the street.
When we talk about the origin of the Bloods, we are talking about the beginning of the 70s, where several neighborhoods came together to build a unity. We are talking about the Piru Street Boys, the LA Brims, the Denver Lanes, the Inglewood family, the Swans, the Pueblo Bishops, the Eton Park Boys, the Bounty Hunters, the Black Pea Stones, and others. If you have seen our video about the biggest rivals of the Bloods, in this video we're calling them the Bees, you can see that, for example, the LA Brims or the Chain Gang were present from the very beginning. It were neighborhoods that had to fight injustice, racism, corruption and poverty, and trying to make something of their and their communities' lives. Certain neighborhoods chose different sides and had different ideas and belief systems. This caused that instead of small neighborhood groups fighting injustice, small neighborhood groups would join a larger street gang and fight not the system, but fight other low-income affected communities. This caused that when fights between smaller gangs erupted, gang leaders from certain neighborhoods, like the Piru Street Boys or the LA Brims and others, where some knew each other from Centennial High School in Compton, started working together and became a unity represented by the color red to fight as a family.
This symbolizes where we're from. This is what we're all about. You know what I'm saying? This symbolizes our love for one another. This is it right here.
Members of the Bloods displayed themselves as tough, showing the outer world that they were more than how the media had portrayed them. They showed the world, yes, we came from poverty, injustice and corruption, but with this, we can unite to help the neighborhood, help the elderly, help the children. By gifting food, helping kids feel safe, sports lessons, barbecues and being there for the community. As the rivalries between areas grew in South Central Los Angeles and bigger gangs started to form, more problems started to arise.
There is a war going on in this country. It is being fought in the streets of one of our biggest cities.
The war is escalating and spreading, fueled by quick money and big drugs.
The number of gang-related killings in Los Angeles is expected to break a record.
LA police are getting their orders as they prepare for another assault on street gangs.
Bigger gangs generating more money, causing more problems. Bigger rivalries, which started to include drugs and weapons, eventually led to gang wars. Unfortunately, only this image was portrayed by the media. They showed Blood members as tough, as many members were muscular and some followed strict training regimen while being incarcerated. But instead of showing the people what they were doing for their communities and showcasing how the Bloods were helping them, being a Blood member or wearing a red bandana was mixed with drive-by shootings, criminal activities, prison, drugs and eventually death. The mixture of having to take care of the protection of the community, fighting rival gangs on the streets, other gangs on the streets starting to grow, and disaffected black youths running to the Bloods only by seeing the display of the negative part in the media left the mark on the Bloods that was set until eternity. This caused the Bloods and their red bandana to grow like wildfire, with new blood sets everywhere. There became new rivalries, with rivalries there came violence, with violence there came murder, with murder there came revenge, and with revenge, the vicious circle of the Bloods was complete.
You're willing to die for whatever this cause is? If that's what it takes.
The brotherhood that once started from the Piru Street and others to help the community would not be seen without the activities of violent gang lives. During the 1980s in Chicago, Illinois, two significant alliances formed among gang affiliates, particularly to offer protection to members within the state and federal prison systems. These coalitions emerged as the People Nation and Folk Nation. The People Nation had their roots connected to the Black Pea Stone Nation, while the Folk Nation consisted of groups originally aligned with the Black Gangster Disciple Nation. Within Chicago's gang landscape, numerous groups opted to align themselves with either the People Nation or the Folk Nation, finding a sense of brotherhood and shared identity. Among these alliances, some blood sets in Chicago found their alignment with the People's Nation. For this reason, some blood sets incorporate symbols and cultural references linked to this alliance. In the late 1980s, the American public were introduced to South Central, the Bloods, the Bees, and the world of gang life through urban music. The most influential and renowned rap group at that time was NWA. That choice, to delve even deeper into these themes, was deeply rooted in their dissatisfaction with the negative portrayal of their communities. In their album, Straight Outta Compton, NWA boldly confronted societal issues head-on, sparking conversations about the realities faced by many in urban America. The portrayal of gang life in the media, particularly through music and movies, became highly marketable during that time, focusing on the raw realities of gang culture, violence and inner-city struggles is what the audiences wanted to see. This was one of the main reasons the movie Boys in the Hood became such a great success. The growing interest of a bigger audience for stories that authentically portrayed challenges and struggles. This growing interest totally changed the path of hip-hop culture by infusing it with raw, unfiltered storytelling. It influenced fashion and street culture, where the red bandana became a symbol reflecting someone's identity and views. Probably the most famous rapper of all time is Tupac Shakur. Tupac joined the label Death Row Records in 1995, which was led by label manager Suge Knight. When we are talking about the influence of fashion, we can take Tupac Shakur as an example when it came to influence street fashion, as he was seen occasionally wearing a red bandana. During this time at Death Row, Tupac released his iconic album All Eyes on Me, which inspired millions and solidified his status as one of the greatest hip-hop artists of all time. Fans of the rapper wanted to emulate him, dressing like him in Timberland boots and wearing a red bandana, making the red bandana even more famous. Even though Tupac often wore several bandanas as they were fashion choices of his own unique clothing style, and it remains unknown if he was gang-related, his label manager Suge Knight was a 100% Proud Blood member, associated with the East Side Mob Piru, a set of the Piru Gang Alliance, which was a part of the bigger Blood Gang. Suge often would wear MOB jewelry, which would stand for Member of Blood. His influence, where he hired members of the Bloods for Death Row Records, brought attention to the gang within the music industry. This approach highlighted the bigger picture of the Bloods, that the Bloods were not just created from negativity, but to form unity, loyalty, and achieving success with your brothers. By the early 1990s, the influence of the Bloods because of music and media outlets had expanded nationwide. Neighborhoods and people in prison became newly established members of the Bloods. This led to the Bloods becoming a dominant force on the East Coast, especially because of the formation of the United Blood Nation established in the New York's prison system, particularly at Rikers Island, where some potential new members of the Bloods had to go through a so-called beat-in. They would get beaten by several other gang members to see if they could be tough and mentally strong in harsh situations. The growth of the United Blood Nation was especially seen in the streets of the New York metropolitan area. Seeing the red bandana, red clothing, gang signs, and hearing "Suwoo" in several neighborhoods and communities. From the neighborhoods of Los Angeles to the neighborhoods of New York. From west to east, the Bloods became, and still are, one of the most famous gangs who established themselves. With this spread, we saw blood-related tattoos across all America, like the phrase MOB, blood-related graffiti, and of course, their own way of communication, through hand signals. Using the hand signals to describe being a member of the Bloods and rearranging the alphabet. The biggest enemy of the Bloods were a gang that wore the opposite color and started with the letter C. For this reason, members of the Bloods spoke with the intent of removing the letter C from the alphabet and replacing it for the letter B. The Bloods used phrases like, "The pity of Bompton, that's bull, yo, what's bragging, haha, that's bomedy." The most famous hand signs of the Bloods were making the letter B or using both hands to make the word blood. Just like the bandana, hand signals have transcended borders and have spread worldwide, becoming iconic across various cultures and communities globally. This whole movement started in South Central Los Angeles, where leaders of the Piru Street Boys, the LA Brims, the Denver Lanes, the Inglewood family, the Swans, the Pueblo Bishops, the Attenborough Boys, the Bounty Hunters, the Black Pea Stones, and others came together and wanted to help their community. They wanted to make the street feel safer and therefore making a change for their brothers and sisters. Blood what made them related, but it was loyalty that made them a family. Let's hope that this video reaches a lot of young people. If you would walk into certain neighborhoods now, seeing people dressed in red, looking at videos of rappers wearing the red bandana, or in this digital age see Blood members supporting each other on social media, using the blood emoji to represent their gang, remember that the Bloods were raised to give hope, to help the community, to put up a fight to people who are being treated unjust, and helping as many people out of poverty by creating a brotherhood. That is the message the Blood Bandana stands for. Did you know the backstory about the history of the Bloods? What did you think about the reason the Bloods were initially raised for, and the fact that the portrayal of gang life in the media became highly marketable in the 90s? Leave me your answers below in the comments, and if you like our content, like and subscribe to our channel, or comment with a blood emoji or swoop comment, and hit the notification bell if you want to see more in-depth history videos. We love making these videos. See you next time at Conscious History.